morning, Commander Sweeney.
Good morning, sir. Come aboard.
Thank you.
Although I was quite at sea for a while, my host, Commander Michael Sweeney, landlord of the Compass Rose Hotel in Crosshaven, County Cork, was firmly planted on terra firma.
Now, welcome aboard, Frank.
I should imagine, having spent so many years running a tight ship at sea, that running a hotel would be a rather loose kind of an enterprise and not at all compatible with your temperament.
Well, I could agree with that to a certain extent, but one must realize that when you're at sea, the sea, when she's rough, is the most exacting mistress that one can ever hope to meet. And it's very necessary to have a very tight ship and very good discipline. We are a very young country, as you probably know. We have a great tradition with the sea. We've been occupied for 700 or 800 years, and I conceived the idea that I would endeavor to establish a link with the people who occupied us. And I've endeavored to acquire the cabins, wheels, and other furniture from the ships that carried the military, the British military, around here in Cork Harbour, feeding the forts with ammunition, provisions, and all that sort of thing. And so far I have accomplished a number of cabins, and some of these cabins, for instance, took the last British troops out of this harbour on the 11th of July 1938. We'd like to preserve these things as a bit of a museum, because there is no nautical museum actually in existence around the coast here in Cork, for instance. I hope sometime that maybe I can donate all this thing as to a National Maritime Museum.
It's a very fine idea, but does it not bring you into conflict with the rather tidy minds in the county council and that sort of thing?
Well, I don't think so, because these things constitute what we call ship's bridges, and they have to be preserved, and they cost money to buy them, and one must sort of look at the financial side, and how better to have a holiday aboard a ship's cabin. So they're developed along these lines.
This is true, but do the bureaucrats take the same romantic view of things as you do?
Well, of course, you are coming from more the capital city where bureaucracy really does exist and all the green tape. I think you'll find here in the rural districts in the county that people take a more human view of these things.
You would argue, in fact, that these are not rooms, but cabins.
They're cabins. Everything in here is classified as cabins. All my guests are classified as passengers. And everything is worked purely on the nautical line. If somebody's going out, we don't talk about they're going out, we talk they're going ashore. When they depart, we tell them that there are liberty boats alongside. It might be their own car, it might be a taxi. We talk entirely in terms of nautical language. I always find it strange when people refer to the floor. I sometimes have to think, what's the floor? To me, it's the deck. And we preserve this kind of nautical theme. The intention is to try and develop along to get some form of a festival, for instance, a super festival, along the lines of, say, the Cork Harbour Liberation Festival, which could be extended probably to a national festival, because if you will examine the situation internationally, you'll find most countries, or all countries, that have been occupied have a National Liberation Day or an Independence Day. You have Bastille Day on the 14th of July in France. You have the 4th of July in the United States of America. Here we don't seem to have any national day of liberation. It's true, we have St. Patrick's Day. And having been out of the country for 40 years, I'm rather alarmed sometimes when I see commemoration ceremonies. They're not attended by certain political parties. They're not attended by certain people. And there seems to be still a kind of a Civil War complex. And with, say, a Cork Harbour Liberation Festival to commemorate the departure of the last British stronghold in the 26 counties, I think possibly a national holiday on the 11th of July, which you appreciate precedes the 12th by 24 hours, could sort of take the heat out of the 12th of July celebrations in the north, and where every political party and where every person associated with the fight for independence can come together and have a general commemoration service on that day for all people who fought for the independence of the country, irrespective where they ended up in the Civil War.
You suggested earlier, Commander, that the profit motive wasn't your entire concern in this business. But on that score, do you feel that enough has been done for the profit motive for the hoteliers in this country by the authorities?
Well, of course, you have Bord Fáilte, who are responsible for the development of tourism. I think they work very well on the question of grants and that kind of thing, but they're kind of bureaucratic, like most things that gets situated up in the capital city. And their field workers, to my mind, haven't got the know-how or the experience of how to get a tourist.
What makes you say that?
Well, I have been coming back to the country myself on and off for the 40 years, and in various parts of England, in London and Birmingham, I have gone into Bord Fáilte offices for a holiday in Ireland, and I have been well supplied with hundreds of brochures and all this sort of thing where I can spend a holiday in Ireland, but they don't seem to have the necessary art how to capture me, to make sure that I go to Ireland. This, I think, can be accomplished if instead of all these hundreds of brochures, if every Bord Fáilte representative, whatever part of the world he might be in, acts as a travel agent. Now you can imagine what would happen. Instead of the particular tourist coming in and having a bunch of papers that he takes home and probably throws away in any case, Bord Fáilte representative is working on commission, so he'll lock the door on him and say, by God, man, you ain't going to escape from me until such times I've signed you up for a holiday in Ireland.
Do you think that Bord Fáilte could learn anything useful from the Navy?
Oh yes, there's no question doubt about it. Everybody can learn something extremely useful from the Navy at any time, even yourself, sir.
Well, Commander Sweeney, what could I learn from the Navy?
Well, Frank, if you recall earlier, I did say that the sea was a most exacting mistress. And in order that you might conquer her, you must be very much in love with her. And you must be ever ready. And I would advise you, whilst you're on shore anyway, in the future, to lift your sights and be forever ready. And you'll probably accomplish much more than Charles Stewart Parnell did with his Kitty O'Shea.